Mambo VP. So I've been retrieving tweets from Twitter and using them to do sentiment analysis and posting some of their results on the various social media sites that I play around with. And some guys have asked me to show them how this works. I can't go into details, but just a quick demonstration, and I will share this code. As always, we are in the open source world. We are building the future on open source. So I will share the code with those that are curious. So comment if you want to see the code. All right. First of all, sentiment analysis is just a way of using machine learning to fix a feeling to a set of sentences. So you want to see if they're positive or negative, and then you can use this to change the messaging and do a lot of analysis and solutions out of that. We also do something called subjectivity analysis. So this uses again machine learning to understand how a text, say a tweet, is closer to fact or to personal opinion. Yeah, so you can use that to do many things, like even to see if something is fake news. I will do such stuff later, but just a quick demonstration how the code works. So as always, we use a lot of pre-built libraries and packages that are available on PyPy, which is the Python packaging index, which has a lot of it's open source. So somebody has built TreePy. TreePy is a package that is used to connect to the Twitter API and download the tweets that you require. So you just give them your credentials. You give them, when I say credentials, I don't mean your password and username. I mean the developer API credentials that allows you to connect to the Twitter backend and retrieve the number of tweets that you require. So that is TreePy. TextBlob will perform the machine learning driven sentiment analysis. WordCloud will draw those beautiful things that you see, the one with big words. Pandas actually do a lot of the mathematical stuff. RE is regular expressions, and we use them to clean the data. So maybe remove the hashtag, remove words that are not required, like HTTP, which doesn't because it's sentiment analysis. If you put things that are how can I say that add nothing to the analysis, like HTTP, HTTPS, all the links that come with the Twitter, then you'll not get a correct sentiment. Matplot library, matplotlib, is used to do the graphs, and yeah, that's it. This one, PDF pages, I use it to just generate the PDF of the graphs after I have generated the graphs. So let's go. This is just setting the size of the graphs, nothing much there. So let's do that. So that's the first step. So on this cell, I'm gonna just run that just to import all the required libraries. Again, that's done. I got next. So we're gonna do the credentials. So we're just loading the API keys. I need to remove this so that you don't see mine. Yeah, because if another developer sees this, they can use it to mess up my profile on Twitter developer. So what we are reading the credentials. I have them here on a CSV file. So we're just reading them to a pandas DataFrame, and then assigning them to the consumer key, consumer secret, access token. So these are just API keys that are gonna be used by TweetPy to connect to the Twitter backend and to get us the tweets. So again, we start doing it. We authenticate by providing the consumer key and the consumer secret and the access token secret, and then we create the API object. So, and then I've written this big one of the the biggest function here. So the work of this is just to connect to Twitter using TweetPy, this API, and then return some number of tweets using the search term that we will provide. So let me run that. It will do nothing for now, but I just want run it so that the next cell will understand that it is there. So here is where we now connect to Twitter. So we ask the user to enter the search term or hashtag they want to return, the number of tweets they want to return, and then we assign all that to a data frame. So this, we call it data df, so just a data frame. So I'm gonna say Kenya Kwanza. So I want to return 1,000 tweets that mention the word Kenya Kwanza, and then 1,000. So it's taking some time to return them because 1,000 tweets a bit. So the more you have, the better your sentiment will be. So here then, so I've gotten 1,000 tweets. All of them are from today. We'll see. So this one is from the standard. So it gives you the user ID. So this one from the standard. This one is from some guy called Mengistu. And then this is the tweet. This is what we are really interested in. These are the locations. So we can even see how many people in Nairobi are talking about Azimio, or we can just draw graphs and I can tell, I can tell the people who are interested in the data that, if, for example, say we're talking about Coca-Cola. So where is Coca-Cola, being talked about too much, and do such analysis, and maybe the company might decide, because Eldoret has a lot of mentions of Coca-Cola, it means people in Eldoret already know about Coca-Cola, so we are not going to advertise too much in a radio station in Eldoret, but we'll go to Lodwar where the mentions are a bit, down. And that is the work of such stuff in the business end, but this is just for fun. Yeah, so let's see. So we've returned 1,000 entries, 0 to 999, and then so what we need to do, we don't need the user ID, the Twitter ID, the location, so I'm gonna just drop them and then just be left with the tweets. So you can see here I just have the index and the tweets, you see. So I don't have the user ID. I still have things like art. I still have, of course, you can see a lot of things that are, if so let me do 10 so that we can see if we can see an HTTP. Yeah, so stuff like this is not required. You see, there's an HTTP, these links. I don't want these links, and I don't want these symbols. Yeah, so I'm gonna use regular expressions to clean those texts. So I've created a small function called clean tweet. So this regular expression, it is very important as a programmer to learn regular expressions. So the first one will remove the @ the mention. This will remove the hashtags. This will remove all retweets, because if it's a retweet, it means a double, and that will not be good for your data, because it will be doing it twice. You'll be doing sentiment analysis twice, and so what it will do is destroy your averages. Okay, so I'll just do that, and then here is where we apply. So we are just doing this column and applying this for every tweet. You're applying the clean tweet function. If you compare this, so you see here, there were these emojis, and then there were this HTTP thing. So the emojis there, but there's no HTTP. There are no ads, so that is cool. We can remove these emojis, but it's part of a person's sentiment. So if these were crying emojis, I think the AI will see it as a negative sentiment. We can just do one and then see. So now all I have to do is to apply a sentiment to every tweet. So check for subjectivity and polarity. So subjectivity is a value between 0, 0.0 and 1, and if it's higher, so going towards 1, it means that a personal opinion has affected that text, or in this case that tweet. If it's less than 5, it means it's more closer to facts. Polarity now is the positivity or negative. So halfway, 0 to 1. So it assigns a number between 0 and 1. Less than 0.5 is negative sentiment, and going beyond 0.5 is positive sentiment. So we're gonna run that, and now you can see it has assigned some numbers. So you can see, so this is 0, all of them is a bit between 0 0.0 and 1. Okay, so if it's less than 0.5, it means it's a negative sentiment. If it's above, like this one, 0.7, it's positive. Again, works with the same with this, but we want this to be lower, we want this to be higher, we want this to be less than 0.5, we want this to be higher than 0.5. So we want more subjectivity and more polarity. Okay, positive polarity. So what we're gonna do again is just to get, so here we want to create a word cloud. I'll show you what a word cloud is. So the first thing we do is just to join all these words into one big pile of words called all words. Yeah, and then we're gonna count all those words and generate a word cloud of the biggest word. So just let's do that, and you can see, so in all these tweets, the biggest, of course, the biggest thing should be Kenya Kwanza, because we searched Kenya Kwanza. So you can see, so what this means is the bigger the word, the more it's being used. So these are top 20 words, and you can see Kenya Kwanza, Raila, well, Ruto. So it's interesting that Raila and Ruto are being mentioned nearly at the same level by people who are talking about Kenya Kwanza. Azimio is still there, but you see it's a smaller. So you can use this to, as a quick, before you go into the real analysis, as a quick way to check what are people talking about when they hear Brian Koech. So then you can see what maybe you are an idiot and stuff, and you can just check it out. Yeah, and then so let's assign now the sentiment, the score actually. So if the score is less than 0, negative, it's 0, it's neutral, and then if it's bigger than 0, then it's positive. Okay, good. Next, let's plot that. So we have done that, and then we want to plot it. Yeah, so at this moment when we downloaded this, more than half, this is 400. Yeah, so about, we will see the percentages. So that number of people were the tweets were positive, this number was neutral, and this number was negative. We can get the subjectivity again. So you see, we've done this. So we just take the polarity. It's positive, 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 neutral, neutral. So when it's 0, it's neutral. Okay, cool. I can do more so that we can see a few negative ones. So see, so whenever it's a negative number, then it's negative. When it's a positive number, it's positive. When it's 0, it's neutral. Yeah, I made a mistake on my explanation. So it's between -1 and 1. Okay, for the polarity. For this is just between 0 and 1. This one is between 0, so 0.1 to 0.9 to 1, 0 to 1 in the subjectivity. In the polarity, it's between -1 and 1. So 0 is in the middle. 0 is neutral. Anything above 0 is positive. Anything below 0 is negative. Cool? I hope you get me correctly now. Thank you. So yeah, so you can see the negatives and the positives, and then you can see whether they're objective. So if it's less than 0.5, it's objective. If it's greater than this, it's subjective. We want objectivity. We don't want them to be subjective. So if it's a company that wants to broadcast an advert, they will look and see if the reaction to the advert is either subjective or objective. If it is, then they will change the messaging. So 62% was objective, 38% was subjective. So you need this to be more and more larger, to be larger, and this to be smaller. Yeah. And then So this were at this moment 46% of tweets of the 1,000 tweets mentioning Kenya Kwanza. 46 were positive, 17.3 were negative, and 36 were neutral. And then the most important thing now is to do the actual sentiment analysis. So this is a scatter plot. The mathematicians in you will know that. So this is the polarity. You're starting from -1 to 1, and then the subjectivity is starting from 0 to 1. What you want is less subjectivity and more polarity. So if I would draw, if you can see my mouse, I would want to be between 0.5, between 0 here, and go this way, but not that way. So somewhere here. So going this way here, here, and here. So if the more your plots are here, the better your response, or the response of the people to what we're searching is. So again, it's because the political thing, it's about opinions. So you can see it's a lot of them most of them are positive, but again they are very subjective. So if it was a scientific paper, reaction to a scientific paper, and a lot of people were responding with opinions, with very subjective opinions, then we would say the reactions were negative. But because this is it's a political thing, then this is fairly good. Yeah, so that was just a fun introduction to make you feel interested in playing around with maths and computing. Thank you, and see ya in the next video. Bye.